What is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD here, back again with another episode of your favorite Last of Us Part 2 podcast, Road to Part 2, with my luxurious co-host, Starks. How you doing?
I am okay, sir. How about you?
Just okay?
Yeah, I had
I
a
feel you.
pretty roughish day, but yeah,
I hear
okay.
I hear you. Just finished homework, just chilled a little bit.
Homework.
Did a Concrete Genie video. Make sure to go check out that as well. Playing through Wolfenstein. It's been very nice. It's been very, very nice. I haven't gotten to play factions in a little bit.
I was playing factions
dude,
earlier today.
I need to.
Playing a lot of it actually.
I need to. I know. I've been just like, cause there'll be times where like I'll be playing something and then I'll just get the itch to want to play factions. You know what I'm saying? It's that gameplay. You know, it feels so good. But anyway, that is not topic at hand here. The main topic at hand here is, of course, the infected of The Last of Us. You know what I'm saying? The clickers, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So I guess, you know, do you have a preference on which infected do you like? You know what I'm saying, Starks? Like what are your thoughts overall on the infected? You know what I'm saying?
Well, my thoughts are they were strange. I guess my favorite would be runners and stalkers because they're not clickers, and clickers are hard to kill.
Right.
Because you literally can't fight clicker, like you can't hit a clicker without dying. Like I think you can only shiver or shoot them, right?
Yeah. It's they're
I
nasty.
think you could hit them, but I think you need to put like there needs to be a certain amount of damage dealt
Like-
before.
I know if you had a shiv in the game, you could, you know, sing up behind it, grab it, and then from the front do like a stabbing motion with that. But I just find them very, very distinct, and like it's kind of interesting that we have an IP that has cultivated a version of a quote unquote zombie. I know it's obviously not a zombie, but like quote unquote, you know, some sort of turned human, and have us automatically like connect with the title of the game through that infected. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you think of a clicker, or like when you like hear the sound it makes, you think of Last of Us, because like you know that's where it's from. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm sure there's other types of zombies and stuff like that that are definitely like attached with different IP, but that like just everyone when they hear clickers, like it's Last of Us. You know what I'm saying? And they sound very, very ominous. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
If I had a favorite, I just hate dealing with the bloaters. I know that they're very annoying, and we'll talk about that.
Really?
Yep. Huh? What?
I actually did not have an issue with bloaters at all.
I did a few times. I did. Definitely.
I mean, I've never
can't
played
lie.
the game on any hard difficulty, so I
Right.
wouldn't. So maybe if I were to, but yeah, I never really had an issue.
I just found them annoying. You know what I'm saying?
They're definitely challenging a little.
Oh, 100%.
I find clickers a little bit more challenging though. I don't know, bloaters, you just shoot them a couple times and they're dead, right?
Yeah, but like they like take a while, and when you get hit
And
by
they
them,
shoot out
like
spores.
yeah,
and
spores.
yeah.
I mean, granted, clickers are one hit. Like they will kill you in one hit, low key. You know what I'm saying? Kinda. But yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. But or I mean, runners can be freaky too sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know. But I say, you know, let's maybe do a quick recap on the different types of infected, because this episode is about the infected, right? And like what different types we can see, and maybe different types of species could become infected, perhaps, that we didn't see in Last of Us. Now, no, I won't start there. Let's just start with, of course, when you get infected, you first turn into a runner, right? This happens between 1 to 2 days of infection. They like maintain a lot of human characteristics as well, and stuff like that. So like they like tend to make more human sound, as opposed to obviously when we get to clickers, they're definitely,
And they're weaker. They're weaker.
Yes, they are weaker.
So-
yeah.
I could read a little description, but essentially runners are the first and weakest stage of the infected who have just recently entered their transformation. People who have been infected will enter this stage within 1 to 2 days, as you mentioned, with increased irritability and hostility towards others being a key symptom. And then their eyes are start to get affected by the fungus.
Yeah.
I think first, but I mean, eyes connect towards the brain, so I mean, obviously your brain as well. They have poor eyesight, but maintain some human characteristics, as you mentioned. So yeah.
Yeah. And what's also interesting about the infected in Last of Us, probably we should have said in the beginning of this, I feel like in most IPs, when you get quote unquote infected, you just become one thing, right? Like there's only like one hypothetical stage, as opposed to The Last of Us with this infection, it grows and changes over time, right? So there's in the game, as far as you know, there's 4 different stages of being infected, and it happens gradually, right? So the first stage is runners, and then the second stage is stalkers, which I'll read the description as well. They have the vision and speed of runners with the ferocity of clickers. The most notable physical traits that define stalkers are distinct croaking noises. They make the beginning of fungal growths.
Like that.
That was honestly, that was a really good impression. I'm not even gonna lie. That was like pretty spot on. But they showed the beginning of fungal growths in the head and face, with, it says specifically here, only one eye. Oh, I'm sorry, only one eye left. I thought I was saying like only the left eye gets spared and the right eye gets consumed at this point. I was like, that's very detailed, but it wasn't that. Yeah, they start using the echolocation, as you know, that the clickers use when we talk about that, and they strafe, they can take cover, they eventually close in on enemies. So like they're like if a clicker was more human, essentially. That's what a stalker is. Right. They're like half human. I mean, more like half runner and then half clicker. Then we get to the infamous clickers, Starks.
Yes.
These infected.
So they are they're the second last stage.
Indeed.
Right. To me, in my opinion, they're a little tougher than the bloaters, because there's a lot more of clickers. After we talk about this, I want to talk about the cycle that Naughty Dog created. So clickers are I'll read a little description, but clickers are the third stage of the infected and take roughly a year to reach their stage of infection. Now, this could also tie back to the Paris Games Week trailer. A little bit. I don't know if we really touched on this, but obviously in that trailer there was clickers that we saw, which means, and you know, try to do the math between the time at which this person, presumably Ellie's mom, would have been pregnant. But anyways, on to clickers. They have had prolonged exposure to the fungus and now possess strength that significantly surpasses the average human, which is ridiculous, but hey. This makes them deadlier, but at the price of being completely blind due to fungal infection taking over their face. However, clickers are able to maneuver through areas by utilizing echolocation, which produces noticeable clicking, screeching noises to locate sources of sounds. Hence their name. Like runners, clickers can sometimes be found in a passive state. So yeah, that was obviously a detailed description of the clickers. And
actually when they talk about the passive state, that actually makes a lot of sense, because when you initially walk into like an area with clickers, obviously, you know, it's a game, so of course they're coded to just stay there, right? But that really does lend into a narrative standpoint, because they use echolocation, which in case you guys are not aware of, that's where a creature or some sort of animal will make a sound. Or human. They will make a sound, and they use that, and they use the time of the echoes and the time that it takes to relay back to your ears to dictate where they are in the world. So like obviously if you're in the middle of like an empty room, you would hear an echo, but then you would hear definitely a different distinct echo if you were in the corner of one of those rooms. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll bounce back a little bit more quicker to you. Obviously that's not like the most like scientific way of explaining echolocation, but it uses sound waves to dictate your location. That's essentially what it is. So and that's why they made that noise.
Pardon me, but let me go back to what I mentioned about humans. What I mean by that is some blind humans, I think they also got this inspiration by blind humans. One thing, you don't hear an echo, do you, by any chance, from me?
Do I hear an echo from you? No.
Yeah, because I hear echo of me. But
I think
regardless,
I think I know why.
I don't know if that's in this recording, but if you do hear an echo, we apologize. However, blind individuals sometimes, like bats, use echolocation to hear certain spaces, and it's a very interesting concept that Naughty Dog integrated into their game that I think I have yet to see integrated well in recent video games. But essentially, they go like, or like they make noises with their mouth. That way they can tell
like
between whether there's something in front of them or not. And this is talking for blind individuals, which is really cool.
Yeah.
However, we have a bloaters stage, right?
Indeed.
Which is actually, I don't think it's the final. Well, it is the final stage, but I read it. So bloaters are the fourth final, rarest, and most dangerous stage of infection, as they have the longest to develop, taking years to reach this stage. I assume maybe 5 years. They are covered in thick fungus that effectively acts as armor. Because of this protective covering, they can withstand multiple hits from weapons such as the shotgun and hunting rifle, and even hatchets and machetes, making them extremely tough to eliminate. Bloaters are extremely aggressive, but are rather slow moving, making them more predictable than other infected. Like clickers, bloaters see using echolocation to locate the trap and trap a survivor. Because the fungus has completely deformed their face and blinded them, their echolocation is a lot less refined than the clickers. That's why their movement is so sloppy. Because I'm like, these people are easy to kill. But if a bloater grabs a survivor, it will violently rip off their jaw apart through brutal strength, or grab the player's head and smash it, killing them instantly. Right. There's also it doesn't mention, but they shoot out the spores to essentially affect others around the area, right?
Indeed. Yep, they do. They do.
Now there's also a final, I guess the more final stage, which is the death of and corpse. And I essentially, this is what I wanted to comment about earlier, is I really liked how Naughty Dog approached this game with their enemies. Unlike, there's obviously human AIs in the game, right? Which, is cool and all, but I really like the way they did these zombie clickers and infected stage, because I watched a documentary on the making of The Last of Us, right?
Yep.
And essentially they have a whole cycle, almost like any living breathing thing, whether it's a dog or a cat or a human being or a tree. Maybe not a tree is the best. The tree is probably not the best description, but nonetheless, every living thing has a cycle of life. Obviously stemming from an infection, which affected ants, which then jumped into the humans, which then affects them, and then they become runners, like we mentioned, then stalkers, clickers and bloaters, and then of course death, which is interesting, because obviously, as we know, humans typically live a similar cycle where we're young, we grow old, we learn things, so on and so forth, we survive, and then we die eventually, right? So It's really cool that they went on about this.
I just like the concept of like the evolution of an infected, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like the way they, talk about the origins of how they came up with the infection in this game, it being from like a fungus, and like it's kind of like a real thing, like you said before, that you said in the documentary. The way they designed these different infected, and the way like they behave and stuff like that over the stages, it definitely does make a lot of sense, and it's very adds to, like, I feel the realism of Last of Us, where like you can see this like thing, if it was a real infection, how that could actually be facts of these different stages. Like, it just seems very grounded, and I think that made it more, I feel, more shocking and more real and more scary in that way, because the logic makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're fighting like, in anything else that seems very like fiction, you know what I'm saying? But
no, I agree.
Very cool stuff. But well, I mean, where do you want to go from here? I mean, because there's a lot of different ways that we can go about this, because my thought is that, so we have it laid down. Let me just throw out this little theory for you, right? That maybe this could be something. If not, we can go on something else. But it's been established that the infection changes and it grows and adapts, and some would even argue it's strengthening, some would argue weakness, but overall, the infection does change over time, right? So what happens when, let's say, you have like the town of Days Gone, right? And all those people are far from civilization. They are far from like the next town, and they all get infected. What happens to a group of infected that doesn't get killed for a very long time? What does that look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, are there like small towns across the United States in this game that have never, like, not one of the infected in that town has been killed? Right? So they just have the ability to keep evolving and keep adapting over time. Like, what does that look like? You know what I'm saying? What does like a herd of infected look like? You know?
That would be interesting to see, because I thought, because based off of the, I guess, the cycle, we know that once you become affected, you know, runner, stalker, so on and so forth. Do you mean the clicker stage, and then eventually adapting towards the bloater stage once a few years pass by, or do you just mean like a herd of clickers or a herd of runner? Like, do you? I guess
kind of both, right? Like, because it's been established, I guess, and I hope this isn't really necessarily true, because I would like to see other different types of infected if they could. I mean, like, it's their IP. They could retcon or say, hey, you know, when a bloater gets, you know, enough of the spore gas in themselves, they become something else, as opposed to being like a bloater by itself. You know, by just emitting the spore gas. Like, what happens if a bloater takes spore gas in for a long time? What does that do to it? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's how they could retcon it. But yeah, I don't know.
I kind of wanted to elaborate more on part 2,
right?
And the different ways that they can reintroduce these living, breathing creatures. And I watched a video actually the other day by a YouTuber who I won't mention, but he was talking about the possibility. Well, he wasn't talking about the possibility. He you know, it was clickbait, but he basically said, like, it's a fact we're gonna get infected animals, right? And sure, there is a lot of evidence to support that, but I mean, it's not a fact because we don't know. But nonetheless, do you think we're gonna get infected animals or creatures other than infected humans present in The Last of Us Part 2?
See, that I would like, right? And that to me is like what I think would be the most logical evolution of the infected, considering that we have a laid out 4-stage plan of an infected human, right? Like, what can this infection do to different animals? Like, how would animals behave? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe we might get some inspiration from like Days Gone, where we have those crows that become more aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Or we have the wolves.
Never experienced those crows in Days Gone yet.
They are in the second half of that very long game.
That's why
they are in the second half. Yeah, but it's super. Oh my god, it's such a long. You know what? If part 2 is that long, I don't know if that'll be so good. But beside the point, you know, like, how does this infection infect animals, right? But here's the one thing that I feel like could be a good reason why they wouldn't do it, right? And that's because they weren't in the first game. How would they explain the first game? Do they just have a delayed timeline? Like, maybe they infect older animals that have a less immune system, you know?
Right. What I think Naughty Dog might either do is have no explanation for it and just straight out off the bat have certain animals that we encounter in the game that are infected, or what they might do is show an evolved stage, or perhaps a bloater, or a clicker, or whichever stage, infecting other animals after realizing that this could be a potential source to feed on, right? Because maybe they look at humans as this more, I guess, attainable creatures to eat and consume. I don't know if they necessarily thrive. I've only played The Last of Us twice, pardon me, but listen, I'm a fan of the multiplayer more. But anyhow, I don't know if these like infected runners and whatnot and clickers, I don't know if they thrive off of the feeding of humans. But if they do, then maybe they look towards animals as a secondary option, because perhaps animals certain animals are more slower or easier. Like, I don't know how they would be able to do it, but I think if they do it, they probably won't show how and why it wasn't in the first game. I think they just might straight off the bat do it, almost like how they're doing it with the Seraphites, because there's been no explanation or context for a lot of the things that Naughty Dog have shown us fans for part 2. So it's interesting, and I would love to see animals as well. Like, I would like to see one moment in the game where we combine an infected, I don't know, gorilla or bear.
Oh,
I don't
gorilla.
know about a bear because
sheesh.
yeah,
I was thinking like a little dog. I was thinking like a squirrel.
No, because like in the concept, that was the video I watched where the guy he showed concept art of infected animals, and there was an infected lion and an infected gorilla. Actually, in some point of the game, they wanted Joel to be chased by an affected elephant. Although they ended up writing that off of the game. Now, don't quote me. That's what this guy put in his video. I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but apparently they were at some point in the game, Joel was supposed to be chased by an infected elephant, which means they planned on having infected animals in the game, but ended up scrapping it out, which means it could very well end up in The Last of Us Part 2's video game, right? So
that's crazy.
I think there's a video I want to talk about on my own channel, but we can talk about it here about the possibility of The Last of Us Part 2 being maybe almost just slightly open world, almost.
Are we talking about that here or like on like another episode?
No.
I feel like takes over the whole.
I'm gonna briefly
episode.
mention it.
Okay,
no,
gotcha.
sorry. I'm gonna it's gonna tie into animals.
Gotcha.
Essentially, what I mean is, if we do get an open world, or an open area, almost like we did in Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy,
right?
Then perhaps we can end up seeing a lot of more infected animals in that open world, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that's why I mentioned that, just to kind of tie it to.
I didn't mean to like around your parade. I just like, yo, that's definitely we gotta do a podcast about it being open world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm just like, man, like, I don't know if what do you think it would? So like, do you think they would figure out a narrative way to explain why animals weren't in the first one, or do you think that we'll just accept the fact that, because like I can totally see the fans being like, okay, cool, there's infected animals, all right, that's like a very like suspend your disbelief, like, okay, cool, that's separate from the direct narrative. But I feel like Naughty Dog is so deliberate on narrative, kind of,
right,
and like explaining everything, and like that is clearly shown in the factions mode, where they have a complete narrative reason as to why you're playing multiplayer in the world of Last of Us. Like, they actually have a tangible, literal story, and there's the whole drama of your camp and having to be stronger, having them get attacked by people. You know what I'm saying? It seems like with everything, they are very much so woven in, and they want all their modes to feel like it's cohesively in the story, right?
Right.
So I don't know if they would.
In that sense, I think so. I think,
you know what I'm saying?
What?
Like,
I think, yeah, you're right, because you know what? When I think about it, I think about the journey that we're gonna get with Ellie and possibly Joel. We don't even know at this point, so let's just say Ellie, right? And I think, perhaps there might be a moment in the game where we come through one of, your typical wisdom old man who pass by, or old female who knows everything almost, right? And they might say, I've been observing the behavior of the freakers, or whatever they might end up calling them, right? And who knows, maybe this person might be like, you know what, and I've seen them attack and infect animals, and this disease has spread towards animals. I think that could be a way that they can do it. Other than that, though, I don't know if they would.
Like, why do the animals have to change? Maybe just randomly the animals start getting infected, and that's how the infection progresses.
Or perhaps
that's really interesting.
And when you die, you turn almost like The Walking Dead, where as soon as you die, unless your brain is destroyed or shot or whatever, if you die in the world of The Walking Dead, you come back as a walker or a zombie or whatever, right? So maybe they can do it like this, where animals and human die and they come back.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I guess I would kind of like, I guess like a lot of people wouldn't know if you die of natural causes, you come back a runner. You know, I guess that could totally be it. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe, you know, what if the animals eat the fungus? You know, that could be a thing. Maybe there's strays that's strays that feed off of honestly. Like feed off of dead bloaters. Maybe they get the infection that way, perhaps. You know, there's like a lot of different ways that they can go about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
There is. True. There is indeed. I don't know. I just really wanna because like that's one of the interesting things about the way they've rolled out info about this game is that we still haven't seen. Oh wait, well besides the Paris Games Week trailer, we haven't seen a lot of the infected. You know, and even when we saw that clicker or runner running towards us, it was for like what, like a brief 2 seconds, like barely on screen, you know, and it was blurred anyway, so we couldn't really see any of the detail from that point of view. But I don't know. It's very interesting. You know, do you think the infected can make an appearance in like the new factions mode?
I 110% believe that Naughty Dog is making every effort they can to ensure that the multiplayer version of Part 2 improves and adds towards all of the criticisms and desires people wanted for the first game, including a clicker, including a way to introduce clickers and infected into the multiplayer, as well as we've obviously seen them been hiring a lot of I made a video about it where I spoke about listings, like job listings that they had for July alone, which was I think 20 plus. No, 15. Regardless, they had a lot of positions opening for people to join the team, many of which included multiplayer. I think there was 3 positions for multiplayer or something. So I mean, this could be for The Last of Us. I doubt it. I mean, it could be, who knows, right? But I'm sure it is for The Last of Us Part 2, at least to close it up a little bit, because they're definitely 110%
on like crunch time. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, or maybe it's a new IP. Maybe it's Savage Starlight, which everyone wants. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Do you think there's a way that humans will find a way to utilize infected animals? Right.
I hope so. I hope I see that in The Last of Us Part 2. Really? I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how they would.
The only way they'd be able to do that is to do, like, I'm going to pull this example from The Walking Dead, but they use them to bait.
They do.
Because like this is for swarms in The Walking Dead, where there's a group of a lot of, dead. And what they do is they distract them or use noises and sound and stuff. As well as images like fireworks and stuff. I know they can't do that for clickers, obviously, because they can't see, but they can use sound to drive them away.
Right.
And attack different camps and turfs and stuff. So yeah, I think that could be a way that people can utilize them in Part 2.
Yeah. Because there was those. Now I don't think this particular animal is going to be infected in the game. Oh, I hope not. That'd be tragic. But we have the dog that I believe is with Ellie in the game, I think, right?
Yes, because we apparently are going to have a companion. I don't know if that means human or animal, but nonetheless, I think we're going to have a dog in Part 2. Yeah.
Dude, if that dog gets like killed and gets infected and turns on,
I wouldn't mind.
Oh man, that'd be upsetting, man.
Yeah.
Jesus, that would be tragic. Oh man, I got sick off that. I got sick off that. I like dogs. You know what I'm saying? Jeez, but I mean, I'm thinking of a scenario right now where let's say we have another, clear injury of a main protagonist in the game happen again, as we saw in the university level in Last of Us, where our boy Joel goes down, right? Maybe there's something like that going on in Last of Us Part 2. The dog gets injured, right? But then Ellie gets knocked out as well off the same thing, right? And then Ellie wakes up. She sees like her dog in the corner, like wincing and like whining, you know. And she's like, buddy, what's wrong? What happened? And the dog, yeah, just starts sprinting at her.
It transforms itself.
Yeah, bro.
You know how dogs bark and stuff. She's like,
yeah.
She starts to move back slowly. She says, oh God. And then she pulls out her pistol. She shoots the revolver, but there's no bullets left. The dog starts to approach her slowly until realizing that Ellie is a prey for the dog to munch on, and it goes, and then it starts to jog, and then she has to get up, and then you run, and then that'll be cool.
Listen, Naughty Dog should hire my boy Starks here for some of that VO work. You know what I'm saying? But or we could get a very tragic I Am Legend scene with the dog dying, and Ellie have to put it down. That'd be tragic.
More emotional and better. You know what I'm saying? Probably.
So if we were to get animals, what animals do you want to see? Right? Obviously, I feel like we're gonna get the clear, you know, dogs, of course, because you know.
I think we're gonna see an affected giraffe. It's just a nod at
an infected giraffe.
That'd be weird.
Which I mean, a infected giraffe makes sense because we got that, of course, iconic Joel giraffe scene in the original Last of Us. You know what I'm saying? Of course, like that was such a touching moment. You know what I'm saying? So definitely a giraffe would make sense to be like a callback. I feel like that
might feel forced if they were to have that.
That's what I'm saying though. Like it would. I feel like that would take me out of the game a little bit, but perhaps maybe if they cross through a zoo and then the giraffe is there, that would make sense. You know,
that'd be interesting if they cross through a zoo, which automatically, if they do, I know we're gonna see an infected animal.
Yeah, and like that's where we'll like get the crazy looking animals, right? Like perhaps like an infected lion, or maybe like if you're out somewhere, like maybe we have to traverse towards more like the West Coast in this game, as opposed to it being mostly the East Coast in the original Last of Us.
We're gonna see infected deer.
Yeah, deer. Maybe we cross through like a desert terrain type deal. We see like a mountain lion or something crazy like that. You know,
right?
Could be dope.
Interesting ideas here.
But I just don't know. Like a giraffe seems like it would definitely be like, dude, Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann, Scott Lowe. Yeah. We know what you're doing here. You know what I'm saying? Like that could definitely be an issue with that. But I would want, personally, give me a squirrel. Give me an infected cat. I just want to see.
I was thinking of cats, actually. Yeah.
Dude, cats. Listen, cats are already, you know, not the nicest of animals.
True.
So imagine them tripping off the spore juice, off of the infected powder. You know, that'd be absurd. That'd be absurd. You know,
it really would.
But what about like I mean, I don't know. I mean, I do think that we will get animals that are infected. It's just a matter of like them explaining it.
That would be interesting if it starts, because I wonder if they would introduce that, because obviously we know that in the world of an apocalypse, typically these humans have to survive off of the dependence. You know, they depend on such animals like fish, you know, rabbits, squirrels, even rats. And imagine if this fungal life form starts to infect their ecosystem and the animals, the animals around them. Sorry, not the ecosystem, the food chain, where they're not able to depend on this I guess, you know, animal source, right? Imagine it starts to infect their rivers and they can't drink their water anymore, and the fish start to get all slimy and they start to get like a big bulky fucking thing on them that looks like they're a clicker or something, and now they can't eat fish, right? So I wonder, I don't know if Naughty Dog will do that approach. I think they would just have like different animals kind of infected through their own stories and whatnot. But it would be cool to see this group struggle to essentially live based off of the fact that they're a main source of their food, such as animal meat essentially is affected, is infected, and they're not able to depend on that. They have to depend on things like, I don't know, fucking grass and tin cans that they find years later, which might be spoiled, which in that case means they got to move to countryside, baby. They got to start farming and doing their own shit, right? With
Right.
potatoes and veggies, right? So imagine it starts to affect animals in that regard. Like, they'd be screwed.
Right. You're right.
So yeah, it's
Absolutely.
interesting.
Also, I think what could be like a really cool, addition. Obviously, I have a little bit of a spider tingle, if you will, about them hiring all these Naughty Dogs, all these Naughty Dog employees, Naughty Dogs, that perhaps they are hiring so much at this late in the stage of Last of Us. It could be just a new IP, and that's probably what it is, right? But it could be something that's more ongoing in Last of Us Part 2. Perhaps a battle royale. Obviously that is absolutely have plans. But what if they are not only using the animal assets and the animal coding, stuff like that, for the story of Last of Us, but that could possibly carry over to multiplayer, with factions, or that specific battle royale mode. Maybe you'll have to, maybe it might we might have a mechanic like in the battle royale that is free on PS4 right now that I'm in a video on, that at night maybe it gets really cold and you have to eat to keep your body temperature up. So doing that, you can hunt different infected animals or just regular animals in the battle royale map, and you save the meat and you cook the meat out of that. Like, perhaps that could be something, right?
Yeah,
that could lend the animal aspect to the game overall. But I don't know. I mean, overall, so like you definitely feel like there will be some sort of evolution, because I guess that's what kind of end off is that, like, do we even think that the Cordyceps virus will evolve at all? Like,
Yes.
do we think that, and do we think animals will be involved in that, and that whole evolution?
I mean, based off of I think slash want is definitely. I think we'll get that, and do I want it? Yes, of course, because I think it'll add towards the survival element, maybe story and narrative. So yeah, I definitely think we're gonna get some kind of significant, or maybe not significant, but some kind of evolution of the cordyceps disease, which might be a direct, either good or bad for the humans, whether it be infected fighting each other and killing off their own population,
Right,
because
right.
which would be cool to see that kind of behavior, because Days Gone effectively played with that idea of infected killing each other. It's like, hey, that's cool. I'm riding on my bike as Deacon St. John, and I'm like, cool, you guys are fighting each other, great, that means I don't have to kill you. Right? So that kind of idea where you're about to attack a group of cordyceps, and then one kind of eats, I don't know, one kind of shoves the other, and he's like, and
Listen,
then they attack each other, and then they kill,
really want you to do voice acting,
and then they kill each other, and then there's only one left, which means by waiting and being patient, you don't have to kill 3 anymore, and you save your bullets, and you only have to kill 1. So it would be cool to see that kind of behavior. Do I think that specific kind of behavior is going to end up in The Last of Us Part 2? No way. But it would be cool to see nonetheless.
I mean, maybe it will. I don't know. We had Troy Baker this week say that this is Naughty Dog's most ambitious game, which is, of course,
which
clear.
is a video
Right.
I want to talk about.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
But
Which ties into the
absolutely
open world.
Yeah, I mean, overall, like, my thesis statement is that, yeah, I definitely think that they will show evolution of the infection just because they want it just for lore purposes, and it gives them the freedom to be able to do different things within Last of Us Part 2. But also, I mean, because I could easily see a future in this game where animals aren't involved, but with them already milk capping animals, and of course that's for your partner in the game, not really so much can be lenient towards infected animals. But I think there's a good shot that we'll see animals and the infection play some sort of role together in the game.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
I guess we'll have to see. I don't know. I hope the next time we see the trailer, because how I don't want to see Joel before we get the game, right? You already know that, right? But I would like to see some of the infected in a trailer that comes out pretty soon for part 2. You know, I would like to see that before we get our hands on the game. You know, but I guess I'll do it here. You know, for this week. Like, unless you have any remaining thoughts on the infected in The Last of Us or Last of Us Part 2.
No, other than I hope Naughty Dog gives the fans, you know, the fan service is up there, and that, you know, they find a unique, different way to kind of play with the concept of the cordyceps and its fungal life cycle, and that it doesn't contradict the already well-established narrative in the first game, because I think that's the challenging part. Other than that, I do not, and yeah, that's it.
I guess that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. So, Starks, where can the people find you?
Well, first of all, I want to say, if you're
What's
still
your
watching,
address? What's your social security number? You know, give me all of it.
Yeah,
your phone number.
No. But thank you for watching. If you're still watching, you can find me on YouTube at. You can just search up the Starks, THE for the, and then STARKZ, and I have a Twitter page, a less liked Twitter page.
I like it. I like the Twitter page.
You should saw the rant that I had earlier.
I need to go back and read it.
Did you see it though?
I think I saw it going down. I just didn't get a chance to go.
No, there was a lot of stuff that I did there. But anyways, yeah, that's where you can find me on YouTube and Twitter.
Beautiful. And of course, you can follow me at the KDAs123 down below. I'm playing through the Arkham series. That's been nice. Playing through Wolfenstein Young Blood. Very nice as well. Videos about both those things and content about both those things on the channel are in the process, so look out for that. And of course, you can follow me here at youtube.com/PlayStation Source, where you can follow us for the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Make sure to also check out down below our different links for PlayStation Source, our Twitter, our Discord. Follow us on there, all that good stuff, as well as if you're interested in listening to any of our long-form content, that being, of course, this episode, Road to Part 2, and this series, Road to Part 2, as well as the official podcast for PlayStation Source, the Cross Circle podcast that goes out every Monday on the channel. All you gotta do is click the link down below, and you will find a Anchor link where you can go to different various podcast services like Spotify, like Apple Podcasts, like Google Play Podcasts, all the good stuff. You can find our PlayStation Source podcast feed down below, and those links on your desired audio platform. And make sure to go tune in next week for another episode of Road to Part 2 every Wednesdays on youtube.com/PlayStation Source. Thank you for watching, and as always,
greatness awaits.
There we go. Get infected. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.